Don't start the car. The millionaire's wife sabotaged the brakes. The shocking truth revealed. The headline screamed like a thunderclap across every newsfeed. Victor Hale, the magnetic billionaire with smiles sharper than knives, was almost killed tonight. Not by accident. Someone cut his brakes, deliberately, and the shadow over the crash? His own wife, Lila Hale, the one everyone admired for her poise and charm at that glittering charity gala downtown, the one whose soft laughter echoed through the marble halls just hours ago. Victor had been the star of the night, tall, perfectly tailored, the king of the room pulsing with power and prestige. Cameras flashed, glasses clinked. Yet beneath that glittering surface, a storm was growing. No one saw it. No one could feel it. Then, moments after leaving the event, Victor's sleek black car, a beast of engineering and luxury, shuddered violently. Tires screamed against cold asphalt as the car veered suddenly into chaos. Passers-by froze, hearts stopping as the vehicle careened wildly, swiping the curb. Panic cut through the night air like a sharp blade. Emergency responders burst onto the scene, amber lights spinning, their breaths short and heavy in the chilling silence that replaced the usual city hum. Victor lay motionless inside, a world narrowing around him, heartbeat thudding in ears, a tightness gripping his chest as pain dented through. And then there was Lila, calm, too calm, standing at the edge of the crowd, her face a perfect mask, her hands steady as if untouched by the disaster that gobbled up the man she was supposed to love. This serene exterior wasn't peace. It was a wall, cold, hard, hiding a churning chaos of jealousy, despair, and secrets no one dared whisper. By day, Lila was the golden girl of charity, the flawless partner in a picture-perfect life. But tonight, something darker slipped through the cracks. The doctor's grave expressions, the murmured question about tampered brakes, the whisper of betrayal that cut deeper than steel. At the hospital, Victor fought to stay alive, each breath a battle. His empire, the source of countless rumors and ruthless power plays, was suddenly fragile, slipping beyond control. Miles away, investigative journalist Maya Brooks caught wind of the disaster. Haunted by her own past, by lies she once believed, Maya's curiosity ignited a fierce determination. She smelled the story, a tangled web of rivalries, secrets, and the bitter edges of love and hate. Whispered confidences landed like blows. The brakes had been sabotaged. Someone wanted Victor dead. But who? And why would Lila, the elegant philanthropist, dare cross that line? As Maya dug into the shadows, a chilling secret surfaced, an anonymous tip pointing to a connection between Victor's fiercest business rivals and a past Lila desperately tried to bury. The layers peeled back like scars, revealing old wounds, the question bleeding through all the chaos. Who really pulled the strings? Was this a crime of passion, cold revenge, or something far more sinister? Lila's calm began to crack behind closed doors. Was she haunted by guilt, by freedom long denied, or by something darker still? Her trembling hands and silent tears told a story no one was ready to hear. The night grew heavy with unanswered questions. Victor's fate hung by a thread, and the real story, raw, painful, alive, was only just unfolding. Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Victor lay in that hospital bed, the beeping machines the only sound in the dim, sterile room. Each beep was a reminder of the fragility of life. Pain danced across his body, but there was something more unsettling brewing in the air. Lila paced outside, the fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows on her perfect face. She seemed composed, the epitome of elegance amidst the chaos, but inside, her heart raced. She'd heard the whispers, the grim implications about tampered brakes and a plot against her husband. Tension thickened like fog around her, suffocating, overwhelming. What had she done? It was then, the moment of truth, when a sudden explosion shattered the hospital calm. A distant blast rumbling like thunder. Lila's heart jumped. Screams erupted from the nurses' station down the hall. People rushed, confusion spreading like wildfire. Lila slipped into the chaos, moving toward the exit, her instincts telling her to flee. But she didn't get far. A figure emerged from the swirling crowd, dragging a bloodied body behind them. Lila froze. It was Maya Brooks, the journalist, and in her hands was a shocking document, a crumpled envelope stained with red. "You need to see this," Maya gasped, eyes wild, voice trembling and urgent. Lila's hands went cold. "What is it?" Maya didn't reply. Instead, she thrust the envelope into Lila's hands, eyes darting around as if the shadows were whispering secrets. Heart pounding, Lila tore it open, each rip sending jolts of dread through her. Inside were photos, horrific images of Victor, but not as the successful mogul everyone knew. No, these were from a different era. His face was marred with bruises, eyes filled with fear. But it wasn't just him. Lila's heart sank as she recognized the woman standing beside him. "How did you—" Lila croaked, but her voice faded under the weight of the revelation. Maya's face went pale. "You need to understand what's at stake. This woman, she's Victor's ex. She's been lurking in the shadows, connecting with his enemies. This is bigger than just jealousy." The pieces began to slide into place for Lila. Everything she thought she knew twisted and warped. Was this about more than just their relationship? Could Victor really be connected to something so dark? "But why now?" she whispered, horror creeping in. "They want revenge. They want to destroy him, destroy everything." Lila's trembling fingers held the envelope tightly, every nerve ending screaming at her. The world around them dimmed, and all Lila could feel was the weight of impending doom crashing over her. Suddenly, sirens wailed nearby, drawing closer, panic thickening the air. Maya's eyes narrowed, fierce yet conveying her desperation. "They know we're onto something, Lila. We need to find Victor, now." With no moment to lose, they bolted toward the stairwell, every echoing footstep a countdown to catastrophe. As they dodged through the emergency exit, a figure appeared at the hospital entrance, a menacing silhouette standing against the stark hospital lights. A flash of recognition hit Lila. It was Lila's brother, Jason, the one person she trusted implicitly, but who had vanished years ago without a trace. "Lila," he shouted, voice laden with urgency, "you have to come back. It's not what you think." Her heart stopped. The air froze around them. Jason, the absent brother, back after all these years, with secrets buried so deep, they threatened to tear her whole world apart. "What do you mean?" she gasped, confusion twisting her gut. The sirens blared louder, and Jason's gaze flickered to Maya, filled with a mix of fear and warning. Every tangled thread of their lives seemed woven together in a way Lila had never imagined. As they stood at the crossroads of truth and deception, Lila realized that the real danger was just beginning. Would this avalanche of betrayal bury them all? The nurse rushed by, whispers of a new danger brewing. Suddenly, time froze. What lay on the horizon, waiting to shatter their fragile reality? Lila stood frozen, the world around her thundering with color and sound. But all she could see was Jason's face etched with urgency. Confusion tangled with fear. "What do you mean?" she gasped. The sirens blared, cutting through the chaos like a knife. "Please," Jason implored, desperation spilling from his words. "We have to get out of here. It's all connected." Maya stepped closer, her pulse quickening. "What do you know? You just disappeared." But before Jason could respond, The lights flickered, then went out. Panic surged like a tidal wave. A deafening crash echoed, and the emergency exit doors slammed shut in a gut-wrenching bang. The darkness swallowed the hallway, but for a split second, the emergency lights flickered back to life. In that brief flash, something caught Lila's eye, a shadow darting past them, not far beyond the doorway. A horrifying notion ignited in her mind. Something was terribly wrong. "Stay close," Maya shouted, grabbing Lila's hand. They pushed ahead, heartbeats racing, the thud of feet echoing around them. But then there was another sound. A screech, sharp, desperate. "Lila!" It was Jason, his voice steeped in fear. She turned just in time to see Jason, eyes wide as he staggered back, his hand clutching his shoulder, blood soaked through his shirt. "No, Jason!" Lila screamed, the weight of dread crashing down. Maya moved instinctively, grabbing Jason to steady him, but the look in his eyes twisted Lila's gut. "The assailant," he gasped. "He's coming." And then, as if summoned by their fear, a figure stepped through the entrance, dark and imposing. The shadows wrapped around him like a cloak, a long knife glimmering in his grip. The air turned thick with terror. "Run!" Maya yelled, adrenaline surging as she pulled Lila away from the chaos. They sprinted, but Jason collapsed, grunting in pain. "Leave me," he shouted, desperation twisting his features. "Get to Victor." "No, I can't," Lila choked on her words. But before she could protest, Jason's eyes locked onto the figure closing in on them. "It's not just them, Lila." His voice was hoarse, filled with dread. "They're coming for you too." Without thinking, Lila dropped to Jason's side, clutching his hand. "What do you mean? I'm not your brother," he spat, the truth exploding into the air like shrapnel. I'm an undercover agent." Shock pierced Lila. "What?" The figure lunged, knife raised, the blade shimmering in the dim light. Maya pushed Lila away as she tackled the assailant, screams and chaos echoing in the hall. "Find Victor," Maya yelled, as they went down in a tumble of limbs. Lila scrambled to her feet, her heart racing. The walls seemed to close in around her. Jason struggled, his face contorted in pain and hidden truths. "Lila, listen," he gasped between breaths. "I tried to protect you. Victor, he's not who you think." There's a web of deceit around him, and it's only going to get worse. A sickening realization washed over her. "What are you talking about?" But before Jason could answer, gunshots rang out, a loud crack that shattered the air. People screamed. Lila's heart dropped. "No," she whispered, panic clawing at her throat. "Go," Jason ordered, blood dripping from his shoulder. "Now." But part of her wanted to stay, to unravel the knot of lies. Her instinct screamed to run, yet her heart ached for answers. She turned to flee, breath hitching in her throat. The whole world spun, and the truth loomed monstrous, a shadow waiting to devour them all. As Lila rushed toward the exit, racing against time and treachery, a chilling thought gripped her. If Jason wasn't her brother, then who was he really? What had Victor dragged her into? And could she trust anyone at all? That question drummed in her ears as she burst through the doors, leaving her past behind and stepping into chaos, unaware of the storm that awaited just beyond. Lila burst through the doors and hit the street, the cool night air slapping her face like a wake-up call. Her heart pounded in her chest, the adrenaline surging through her veins. She could still hear the chaos behind her, screams, shots, and the sickening sound of a struggle. But all that mattered was getting to Victor. "Where are you?" she whispered, panic creeping in. Her feet moved fast, but her mind raced even faster. The memories from the hospital played in her head like a film on repeat. Jason, not her brother. An agent. Why now? Did he betray her? Did he even care? The city lights twinkled ahead, casting shadows that danced along the ground, mirroring the turmoil in her heart. She rounded a corner, desperate for answers, when a figure leaped out of the darkness. Lila stumbled back, pulse racing, terror clawing at her throat. "Lila!" It was Maya, bruised and bloody, but alive. Relief flooded Lila's senses. Maya, she gasped. Did you? No time, Maya cut in, urgency crackling in her voice. We have to move. They're coming for us. They ran together, darting through alleys and streetlights, flickering like anxious thoughts. The fear pulsed in the air, thick like smoke. Just ahead the hospital loomed, their sanctuary and prison. They slipped through a side entrance, breaths ragged, and squeezed into a shadowy nook. Did you find him? Maya demanded, eyes wide and frantic. Lila shook her head, her throat tight. No, I just ran. They stood in silence, the weight of responsibility heavy on their shoulders. The world outside continued to spiral with noise, and Lila's mind buzzed with questions. Who wanted Victor dead? What did Jason meant? Suddenly, sirens wailed in the distance and the door burst open again. Fear rippled through Lila. Was it the assailant? Instead, it was a group of officers storming in, faces grim and determined. Lila felt relief and dread intermingle. Stay back, cried one officer, but Lila took a step forward, adrenaline pushing her bravely. You don't understand. My husband's in danger. The officer stared at her, searching her eyes, but the chaos outside erupted again. A loud explosion rang, rattling the walls and shaking Lila's resolve. Now, someone shouted, urgency thick in the air. Maya grabbed Lila's arm. We have to get away. As they turned to bolt, Lila spotted movement from the corner of her eye. Her breath caught. A figure stepped from the shadows, drenched in darkness. It was Jason. His shirt was blood-stained and torn, more than before. Lila, he gasped, staggering forward. You have to listen. Maya, we need to go, Lila urged, her eyes darting nervously between them. But Jason shook his head, desperation etched on his face. No, I came to warn you. You don't know the truth. Maya, Lila cried as she felt her friend's grip tighten. Get away. Before she could pull Maya further, Jason threw himself in front of them. You have to trust me. It's about Victor. What about him? Lila snapped, emotions swirling within her. What have you done? The answer lingered in the air, heavy and unspoken. But just then the sirens grew louder, urgency spilling over into panic. Jason took a step back, eyes wide, pulse quickening. They know we're here. Then without warning the lights exploded, plunging the room into darkness. Lila, get down, Maya screamed, pulling her to the floor. The air filled with a cacophony of shouts and chaos as gunfire erupted outside. Confusion reigned, but suddenly, a voice pierced through the din, cold and laced with malice. You didn't think we wouldn't find you, did you, Jason? Lila looked up, her heart pounding. A man stepped forward from the shadows, face obscured, but eyes gleaming with a chilling recognition. The world slowed as the recognition hit her like a brick wall. Victor, she breathed. Victor, is that you? He stood there, relaxed yet menacing, a smirk twisting his lips. The revelation slammed into Lila like a tidal wave. You're not hurt. He looked down at her, a fork in his expression. Why would I be? Confusion turned to horror, twisting Lila's insides. Everything she thought she knew splintered. Suddenly, every question, every whisper of betrayal now wrapped around her like chains. Victor, what's happening? Tears pricked her eyes, the surreal moment drawing out painfully. What do you mean? The room fell silent, the chaos outside fading into a haunting echo. Victor stepped closer, his tone so smooth it felt like ice. You've all played your parts beautifully. Game over. Lila felt the ground wobble under her resolve. She could barely breathe. Each inhalation turned into a struggle, and reality morphed into something monstrous. Lila, Maya's voice trembled, layered with disbelief. We were right to be cautious. And as Victor's grin widened, Lila's heart dropped. The truth loomed dark and dreadful. Who was he, truly? What had she stumbled into? With the echoes of betrayal ringing in her ears, she realized the fight was just beginning, and she had no idea who to trust anymore. Lila stood frozen, trying to process Victor's taunt. The world melted into a blur, his smirk slicing through her confusion like glass. Game over, she echoed, disbelief crashing over her like waves. The silence stretched, thick like fog. Jason remained on the floor, blood staining the tiles, his breath sharp and heavy. He looked back at Lila, pleading with his eyes. "Victor, what are you saying?" Lila's voice trembled. "You think this is a game?" Victor stepped closer, confident and almost serene. "Oh, it's all a game, darling. You've been good little pawns on my board. You just didn't know the rules." Panic rose, clawing at Lila's throat. Jason shifted, wincing, and her heart fractured at the sight. Did he really mean to hurt them? Could he be the monster lurking in the shadows? "Victor, stop!" Maya yelled, stepping in front of Lila protectively. "This isn't how it ends." "Ah, Maya," Victor sneered. "You really think you can save the damsel in distress? You're just another piece, another obstacle in the way." A quick flash of movement. The sound of sirens bled through the air, growing closer. Lila's mind raced. They'd go to jail or worse. They'd be silenced. "What do you want?" she shouted, desperation spilling over. "Simple." "I want control," Victor replied, his tone cold and dispassionate. "And you all have secrets too, hiding just beneath the surface." Lila felt her heart quicken. "What are you talking about?" Victor leaned in, eyes narrowing as if sharpening the knife cutting deeper. "I've always known, Lila. Everything about you, your brother, the lies you both surround yourselves with." "Stop," Jason groaned, trying to push himself up, but collapsing back down. "You don't know what you're talking about." But Victor only chuckled, low and menacing. "Oh, but I do, because I know who really pulled the strings." As he leaned back, he flicked his gaze over Lila, then Jason. "I know you've been working with someone else." "What?" Lila gasped, a chill snaking down her spine. Jason's eyes widened, realization hitting, like a freight train. "What are you saying?" The revelation hung thick in the air, but before Victor could answer, everything erupted. Lights flashed back on, and a loud crash shook the walls, followed by gunfire ringing through the halls. Lila's blood ran cold as shadows poured in. A group swarmed through, their faces masked, glinting weapons in their hands. "Time's up, Victor," one of them shouted, and chaos erupted. "Run!" Maya screamed, grabbing Lila's wrist. They stumbled backward. But Lila couldn't tear her eyes away from Victor. He seemed to relish the sudden shift, like a puppet master watching his strings snapped. "No!" Victor shouted, but it was too late. Panic spilled into the room as bullets flew, and the masked intruders charged forward. "Lila," Jason's voice broke through the cacophony. "You need to know. I'm not your brother, and I." But Lila was already sprinting past him, the weight of his words crashing over her. The sirens blended with screams, blurring into a symphony of chaos. Outside, the world felt like a whirlpool, dark shadows and blinding lights. She stumbled into the street, but as the chaos erupted behind her, she felt a hand clasp her wrist. "When you're ready to know the truth." Jason's voice was ragged, desperate. "Find me." Lila turned, confusion and fury boiling inside her. "What truth?" "Here? I'm the key to all of this," she replied, a chilling smile creeping across her lips. "And it's time to rewrite the story." In an instant, everything shifted again. The web of lies thickened, wrapping around Lila until she could hardly breathe. She stood at the precipice of a reality she never understood. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the ground beneath her feet, scattering the crowd in panic. "Get out!" someone shouted, but Lila could only see the glint of a gun in the chaos, a figure with a clear shot at her. "Lila!" Jason cried, but the sound was drowned out by chaos, confusion, a nightmare that she couldn't escape. And then all went dark. As darkness swallowed her, a single thought pierced through. What was real? Time slipped away. Lives teetered on the edge. And Lila realized the truth was more dangerous than the lies. Lila felt the darkness envelop her, a heavy blanket smothering her. Distant voices echoed, blurred with fear and panic. But just as swiftly, she blinked awake into a blinding light, reality exploding around her. She lay on the ground disoriented, Sirens wailed nearby, and a crowd of silhouettes surrounded her. Whispers slithered through the air, words of confusion, dread. Her heart raced. Where was Maya? Where was Jason? Lila, a voice broke through. It was Maya, pushing through the shadows, face pale but determined. Get up. Lila shot up, shaking off the panic. What happened? She glanced around, struggling to catch her breath, eyes darting. They're after you, Maya gasped, pulling Lila to her feet. The chaos pulsed, loud and disorienting. Siren call to danger. But something felt wrong. Everything felt wrong. Lila's mind whirled back to Victor's chilling words. The game, the facade. Wait, what about Jason? Maya hesitated, and fear gripped Lila's heart. I don't know. I think he got caught in the crossfire. She bit her lip, guilt washing through her. We have to go. Go where? Lila demanded. We can't just leave him. A distant gunshot snapped through the air, sharp and echoing. Now! Maya pulled Lila down an alley, urgency propelling them forward. They ducked behind a dumpster, the scent of garbage mingling with adrenaline. If we don't move, we'll be trapped. Lila's chest tightened as she thought of Jason. He's not just some traitor, but even she felt uncertainty gnawing at her thoughts. Everything had unraveled so quickly, and she was left holding pieces of a shattered reality. Suddenly, there was a crash nearby, and the metallic clang echoed like a death knell. Lila jumped, her heart racing as she peered around the corner. More figures appeared, men in black gear, faces covered, eyes glinting with intent. They advanced slowly, like predators hunting their prey. This way, Maya hissed, pulling Lila further through the shadows. They ducked into a narrow passage, breaths deep and hurried. In the darkness, Lila pressed her back against the cold brick wall. Lila, Maya whispered, her eyes wide with fear. What if they find us? What if Victor? Just then, a loud bang screeched through the night. Rattling the alley, a figure stumbled into view, clutching his shoulder. Blood pooling beneath his fingers. Lila's heart plummeted. Jason! He fell to his knees, gasping, But before he could finish, another shadow loomed behind him. Stay where you are, a cold voice commanded, chilling Lila's blood. The figure stepped into the flickering light. Victor, his face twisted into a snarl, the gleam of a gun glistening in his hand. You've meddled long enough, Jason. You are a liability. No, Lila screamed, her voice filled with raw desperation. Victor, you don't have to do this. Victor turned, his icy gaze locking onto Lila. Oh, but I do. You all thought I was the monster, didn't you? Stop, you! But the confusion churned. What did he mean? Then something shifted. A low laugh echoed, serpentine and familiar. The woman from before, the one Lila recognized, stepped in beside Victor. You've been so naive, Lila. The pieces began to click painfully into place. You're connected to this, Lila stammered. A puppet show, the woman smirked. And you've been the leading actress. A sense of betrayal surged through Lila, gripping her heart. What are you saying? Before anyone could respond, Jason lunged at Victor, desperation fueling him. Lila, listen. They're using you. Don't trust them. But Victor moved like lightning, pushing Jason away, anger flashing on his face. Enough games. In that moment, Lila felt her whole world tilt. If Victor was the puppeteer, what had she really stepped into? She wanted answers, needed them. As chaos erupted around them, the ground shook, a sudden explosion shattering everything. The walls trembled as debris rained down, and Lila screamed, the sound echoing into the night. Suddenly, in the thick smoke and confusion, a voice rang out, clear and defiant. Victor. It was Jason, bloody but resolute. You think you know everything? You don't. Time froze as Lila's breath caught. The declaration hung heavy in the air. What did Jason mean? And then suddenly, without warning, Maya pulled Lila closer, a glint of betrayal in her eyes. You don't know the truth, Lila. Not yet. But you will. Lila's heart pounded as she felt the ground shift beneath her, the world spinning into chaos. She stood at a crossroads. shadows dancing all around, and the truth loomed like a storm waiting to break. What revelation was about to surface? Everything felt poised on the edge of disaster, and Lila knew she might uncover the deepest betrayal yet. Lila felt the darkness envelop her, a heavy blanket smothering her. Distant voices echoed, blurred with fear and panic. But just as swiftly, she blinked awake into a blinding light, reality exploding around her. She lay on the ground disoriented. Sirens wailed nearby, and a crowd of silhouettes surrounded her. Whispers slithered through the air, words of confusion, dread. Her heart raced. Where was Maya? Where was Jason? Lila, a voice broke through. It was Maya, pushing through the shadows, face pale but determined. Get up. Lila shot up, shaking off the panic. What happened? She glanced around, struggling to catch her breath, eyes darting. They're after you, Maya gasped, pulling Lila to her feet. The chaos pulsed, loud and disorienting, a siren call to danger. But something felt wrong. Everything felt wrong. Lila's mind whirled back to Victor's chilling words, the game, the facade. Wait, what about Jason? Maya hesitated, and fear gripped Lila's heart. I don't know. I think he got caught in the crossfire. She bit her lip, guilt washing through her. We have to go. Go where? Lila demanded. We can't just leave him. A distant gunshot snapped through the air, sharp and echoing. Now! Maya pulled Lila down an alley, urgency propelling them forward. They ducked behind a dumpster, the scent of garbage mingling with adrenaline. If we don't move, we'll be trapped. Lila's chest tightened as she thought of Jason. He's not just some traitor. But even she felt uncertainty gnawing at her thoughts. Everything had unraveled so quickly, and she was left holding pieces of a shattered reality. Suddenly, there was a crash nearby, and the metallic clang echoed like a death knell. Lila jumped, her heart racing as she peered around the corner. More figures appeared, men in black gear, faces covered, eyes glinting with intent. They advanced slowly, like predators hunting their prey. This way, Maya hissed, pulling Lila further through the shadows. They ducked into a narrow passage, breaths deep and hurried. In the darkness, Lila pressed her back against the cold brick wall. Lila, Maya whispered, her eyes wide with fear. What if they find us? What if Victor? Just then, a loud bang screeched through the night, rattling the alley. A figure stumbled into view, clutching his shoulder, blood pooling beneath his fingers. Lila's heart plummeted. Jason! He fell to his knees, gasping. But before he could finish, another shadow loomed behind him. Stay where you are, a cold voice commanded, chilling Lila's blood. The figure stepped into the flickering light. Victor, his face twisted into a snarl, the gleam of a gun glistening in his hand. You've meddled long enough, Jason. You are a liability. No, Lila screamed, her voice filled with raw desperation. Victor, you don't have to do this. Victor turned, his icy gaze locking onto Lila. Oh, but I do. You all thought I was the monster, didn't you? Stop, Jason groaned, trying to push himself up but collapsing back down. Lila, listen, they're using you, don't trust them. But Victor only chuckled, low and menacing. Oh, it's all a game, darling. You've been good. Little pawns on my board. You just didn't know the rules. Panic rose, clawing at Lila's throat. Jason shifted, wincing, and her heart fractured at the sight. Did he really mean to hurt them? Could he be the monster lurking in the shadows? Victor, stop, Maya yelled, stepping in front of Lila protectively. This isn't how it ends. Ah, Maya, Victor sneered. You really think you can save the damsel in distress? You're just another piece, another obstacle in the way. A quick flash of movement. The sound of sirens bled through the air, growing closer. Lila's mind raced. They'd go to jail, or worse, they'd be silenced. What do you want? She shouted, desperation spilling over. Simple. I want control, Victor replied, his tone cold and dispassionate. And you all have secrets too, hiding just beneath the surface. Lila felt her heart quicken. What are you talking about? Victor leaned in, eyes narrowing, as if sharpening the knife cutting deeper. I've always known, Lila. Everything about you, your brother, the lies you both surround yourselves with. Stop, Jason shouted, his face filled with a mixture of pain and rage. You don't know what you're talking about. But Victor only chuckled once more, dismissing Jason with disdain. Oh, but I do. Because I know who really pulled the strings. What? Lila gasped, unable to comprehend. The realization hit her. If Victor was the puppeteer, what had she really stepped into? She wanted answers, needed them. As chaos erupted around them, the ground shook, a sudden explosion shattering everything. The walls trembled as debris rained. Down, and Lila screamed, the sound echoing into the night. Suddenly, in the thick smoke and confusion, a voice rang out clear and defiant. Victor! It was Jason, bloody but resolute. You think you know everything? You don't. Time froze as Lila's breath caught. The declaration hung heavy in the air. What did Jason mean? But before Lila could react, Maya's grip tightened around her wrist. And suddenly, everything shifted again. Victor turned toward Maya, eyes blazing. You think you can protect her from the truth? Then, without warning, Maya pushed Lila aside, drawing a hidden weapon, a small gun gleaming menacingly. I've had enough of your games, Victor. Lila's heart dropped. Maya, no! But it was too late. In a split second, Maya pulled the trigger. The shot rang out like thunder, piercing the chaos. But it wasn't aimed at Victor. It struck Jason squarely in the chest. No, Lila's scream shattered the stillness, raw and anguished. Jason staggered back, eyes wide in disbelief, hands gripping the wound as he collapsed to the floor. Lila, he gasped, hurt and lost. Everything Lila thought she knew shattered. Betrayal wrapped around her like a vice. Why? Why would you do this? Maya's expression twisted, fear and desperation colliding. It was the only way. He knows too much. But even as she spoke, Lila could see the truth melting away. Jason wasn't just the brother she fought to protect. Something darker was at play, something woven into their lives from the beginning. Jason slumped against the wall, breath hitching, eyes flickering. Lila, you need to know everything. Lila rushed to him, feeling the warmth of his blood seeping through her fingers. Victor watched with a cruel smile. This is only the beginning, Lila. You've chosen your side. And as the sirens wailed louder, drowning out the chaos, Lila knew one thing. Trust was a fragile illusion, and the real game was just beginning. What other secrets lay hidden, waiting to claw their way into the light? Lila knelt by Jason, the words, "I'm not your brother," echoing painfully in her mind. His face was pale, each grimace clear on his features. She squeezed his hand, trying to keep him awake, to keep him here. Stay with me, please. But the world felt unreal, shadows creeping closer. Victor stood by, his expression a mix of twisted satisfaction and cruel amusement. You've made your choice, all of you, and now you're trapped in a story far darker than you imagined. Maya's gun trembled in her hand. I didn't mean to, I panicked. Jason coughed, blood bubbling at his lips. Lila, trust me, I was trying to protect you. His voice was weak. Protect me? Lila's rage ignited, fierce and raw. You shot him, Jason. You're not protecting anyone. But just as she spoke, the air shifted. A loud crash suddenly erupted from the back of the alley. Dust and rubble poured down, rattling the ground. For a split second, confusion reigned as everyone's eyes diverted. Then, amid the cloud of smoke and confusion, shadows twisted and morphed. Lila's breath caught in her throat as figures emerged from the haze. More men, clad in dark attire, weapons drawn, moved like wolves hunting their prey. Kill them, a gravelly voice commanded. Lila's grip on Jason tightened, heart pounding, fear swelling. No, this isn't how it ends, Maya shouted, waving her gun, panic etching her features. But the masked intruders advanced, their intent clear. Move, one barked, and suddenly the chaos erupted. Lila stumbled, dragging Jason with her. Then, everything shifted again. In the frenzy, a flash of light cupped the alley. A blinding beam erupted from a nearby building, illuminating the scene like a spotlight on a stage for the most tragic play. But it wasn't just light, it was a camera. "Stop, everyone stop," a voice broke through, clear and authoritative. Out of the shadows stepped a woman, holding a camera like a weapon, her gaze piercing around the throng of chaos. Lila recognized her immediately. Sarah, Victor's trusted publicist. What was she doing here? "Sarah?" Lila's voice trembled. "What are you doing?" "I'm here to document the truth," Sarah said, confidence pouring from her. "And you all are part of the story I'm about to tell." Victor's face contorted. "You're making a mistake, Sarah. You don't understand." Her lips curled into a smirk. "Oh, I understand more than you think." Before anyone could react, Sarah raised her camera and snapped a picture, light blasting through the alleyway. Just that simple act seemed to shift the tide. The intruders halted momentarily, caught off guard. "This isn't just about you anymore, Victor," she shouted, voice fierce. "You can't hide behind deception forever." But just then, as Lila processed the chaos, a new sound erupted, a low hum transforming into an ear-piercing roar. A helicopter swooped overhead, lights sweeping across the scene. The intruders faltered, visibly shaken. "Get down!" Maya yelled, but it was too late. The helicopter's spotlight illuminated Victor completely. "No, no, no," he screamed, backing away, his bravado crumbling. Lila's heart raced, her mind spinning. Could this truly be their way out? Before she could contemplate, a low rattling sound echoed above, a new noise that drowned out everything else. Unexpectedly, the ground shook harder, and from around the corner rushed a huge armored van, tires screeching. Doors swung open, revealing a team of heavily armed men, faces obscured with masks. "Victor!" one shouted, and the shift felt monumental. Victor's calm mask shattered. He was backing away, fear now unmistakable on his face. "You can't be here. Not now. Run." Lila's heart dropped into her stomach. "What is happening?" she gasped, bewildered. That's when the truth hit her like a freight train. None of this was an accident. She looked between Maya and Jason, recognizing the lie that had spun out of control. This was all a trap, for you, she realized, the reality morphing into something sinister. But in that instant of clarity, Jason gasped, struggling to breathe. "Need to know. Get out. It's—" But his voice trailed off, a haunting urgency in his eyes, like a warning bell, ringing through the tumult. Sarah stepped forward, eyes wild. "You don't even see it. The trap you both walked into." "What?" Lila's voice quivered. And then, in a flash, the truth unraveled. She could see it, a network of lies and manipulation, each thread leading back to the face she once trusted. "Victor, you orchestrated all this?" "Enough games." Victor's voice broke into a frantic shout. "You're all pawns. This was never about you." As chaos enveloped them, Lila felt the ground shift beneath her, each element aligning in a monstrous pattern. Not only was Jason not who he said he was, Victor wasn't the monster at all. In that explosive moment, Lila realized everything she knew crumbled. Who was really in control, who was trapped, and what secrets still lay hidden in the darkness. Everything hung in the balance as the layers of betrayal peeled away. Nothing was as it seemed, and the question echoed in her mind. Who was the true mastermind behind this tangled web? As the helicopter spotlight swept over them, Lila knew one thing for certain. The truth would shred them all apart, and she had to find out what came next. Lila knelt, fingers trembling as they pressed against Jason's wound, feeling the warmth of blood slip through her fingers. Each gasp from him felt like a hammer on her heart, a countdown to something she didn't want to face. "Stay with me, Jason, please." Tears streamed down her cheeks, mixing with fear and anger. Victor stood by, watching the scene unfold with a twisted pleasure in his gaze. "You can't save him, Lila. It's too late." His words sliced through her more sharply than the knife that had just been used. Yet amidst the horror, the shadows deepened, and the chaos multiplied. Outside, the helicopter shrieked louder, and the masked figures started to close in. Maya fumbled with her gun, fear radiating off her in waves. "We need to get out of here," she shouted, urgency clawing at her voice. And then it happened. A deafening crash exploded from behind them, shaking the ground, and the violent gust of air swept through the alley. Lila whipped around just in time to see a car barreling down the street, tires screeching, heading straight for them. "Watch out!" someone yelled, but it was too late. The impact was swift, metal crumpled against concrete, and the sound reverberated like a thunderclap. Everything froze. Lila's heart raced, and she held her breath, waiting for what would come next. As the dust settled, a figure emerged from the wreck, staggering and disoriented. Panic surged. It was a woman, hair matted with debris, eyes wild and unfocused. But then, Lila's blood ran cold. The woman was familiar. "No, it can't be," she whispered, unable to believe her eyes. "Is that—" Maya gasped, disbelief painting her features. "Yes," Lila breathed. The woman stumbled forward, and Lila felt her gut twist painfully. "It's Rebecca. Rebecca, the ex-wife Victor had always dismissed as a ghost from the past. A figure Lila had convinced herself didn't matter, but here she stood, alive and dangerous. "Why are you here?" Lila shouted, desperation leaking into her voice. Rebecca's face twisted, anger and hurt flashing behind her eyes. "You don't understand. He set me up." Her voice was raw, each word trembling with emotion. "He planned this all along. I was never meant to survive." A weight shifted in the air as Lila processed the revelation. Everything she thought she knew faltered. There was no way Victor could be the mastermind behind such chaos. Could he? Victor stepped closer, eyes narrowing, and something cold twisted in Lila's gut. "You're a liar, Rebecca," he sneered. "You should have stayed buried." "But you didn't bury me, did you?" she hissed, taking a shaky step toward him. The tension crackled, thick like fog, and the air felt electric. "You wanted to eliminate anyone who got in your way, even me." "Enough," Victor roared, anger boiling over. But Jason coughed, sputtering. "Lila." Every word felt like sandpaper against her heart. "Don't listen." And then bam, the light shattered. As the helicopter spotlight flickered, illuminating the street with blinding clarity, Lila gasped, witnessing a scene she couldn't have imagined. More armed figures emerged, this time dressed in SWAT gear, storming into the alley as if hell had come to collect its due. "Drop your weapons, hands where we can see them," a commanding voice sliced through the chaos. Panic erupted, a whirlwind of shouts and screams. Lila felt herself being shoved aside, confusion spinning her mind. Is this how it ends? Would the truth bury her here among the chaos and violence? But then, another revelation ripped through the madness. Among the officers was someone she recognized, a familiar face in the crowd, her mother, stepping forward with determination, eyes fierce. "Lila, I've been searching for you." Time froze. The world around her blurred, and with it, all her assumptions shattered. "Mom, you're here?" "Yes," her mother shouted, voice steady, fierce. "You were never alone, Lila. We've been tracking Victor, and we know everything." Betrayal surged in Victor's eyes. "You don't get to play hero now, Rose. You only make it worse." But what had just unfolded was chaos wrapped in confusion. Desperation clawed its way back into Lila's heart as she searched for the truth, deeper and darker than any of them realized. As the silhouettes of officers began to engulf them, her mind swolled with questions. Who was really protecting whom? And in a final jaw-dropping twist, Lila knew everything she thought she understood would never be the same again. What had her mother hidden? What game was Victor truly playing? As the darkness clawed closer, Lila was left dangling on the edge of a cliff, reality shifting underneath her, the world spinning into shadow. What else was buried, waiting to claw its way into the daylight? Lila felt the world spin violently, the chaos folding in on itself like a sour dream. She knelt beside Jason, still clutching his bloody shirt, desperately willing him to hold on. No, no, this can't be how it ends. Jason, please. Jason's breaths came ragged, his voice barely a whisper. Lila, it's okay. You have to trust. Your mom, she's here. Her eyes darted over to her mother, who pushed forward, determination radiating through the storm. Lila, listen to me. Victor's tangled in something bigger than we ever knew. You need to get out. Victor shot her a glare that could cut glass. You won't escape me, Rose. This isn't over. Is it ever? Lila's voice trembled as she looked back at Jason. The betrayal twisted like a knife. You're not my brother? His eyes widened, pain and guilt clouding them. I thought I could protect you. I tried to help, but... His voice cracked, and Lila felt the warmth slipping between her fingers. You have to stop Victor. He's a monster. I know, she cried, the desperation rising, filling her chest like fire. But how? Outside, the SWAT team moved like ghosts through the smoke, shouting orders, while the helicopter overhead swept its light across the chaos, illuminating every last bit of the unveiled truth. Lila sensed the tension tighten around her. The end was looming. Occupied, she heard one officer roar, splitting the air like a thunderclap as they bore down on Victor and Rebecca, forcing them on the defensive. The tension twisted tighter. Lila had to act fast. In that moment, with her heart pounding like a war drum, Lila made a choice. Grabbing her mother's arm, she pulled her close, their faces inches apart. You need to tell them everything. Now. Tension crackled as Rose nodded, stepping forward. Victor, your game is up. You've manipulated everyone, and now it's time to face the truth. You think you can just walk away? He spat, his calm facade crumbling beneath the weight of the revelation. You're playing with fire. Oh, Victor, Rebecca added, her voice cutting like glass. You think you're unstoppable, but we won't let you hurt anyone again. Suddenly, chaos erupted as the helicopter's spotlight illuminated Victor just as he lunged for Maya. But a sharp shot rang out. One of the officers fired a warning round, and Victor stumbled back, his weapon clattering to the ground. No, he roared, frustration boiling over. You can't do this. I can and I will. You don't have control anymore, Rose declared. The words hung heavy, each one echoing through the alley. Run. Get clear, one of the officers shouted. The urgency fed the chaos as Lila bent down, looking Jason in the eye one last time. I'm so sorry. I wanted to believe. I wanted to protect you, he rasped, pain etched on his features. But you have to go. It's not safe. A tear rolled down Lila's cheek as she watched the fight unfold between Victor and the officers. A twisted symphony of justice against betrayal. I will. I promise. Go, Maya screamed again. In that moment of agonizing clarity, Lila surged forward, hand in hand with her mother, joining the thrumming pulse of the chaos outside. Behind her, the confrontation boiled over, a violent dance of shadows. Jason's whispered words brushed her heart. Find the truth, Lila. As they broke free into the night, sirens howled and Lila turned one last time to see Jason, his presence fading, but echoing with unsaid truths. Taking a breath, she sprinted into the unknown, ready to seize her life back. With the city lights spilling around them, Lila knew one thing. This would not be the end. Shadows may gather, but the strength to reclaim her truth burned bright. And as the cacophony of voices melded into the overwhelming night, she made a vow. She would find the truth, no matter the cost. But right now, there's something crucial you must do. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss any of the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash the like button right now to feed the algorithm, and flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this intense ending. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this ends. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.